Dirt Everyday Extras go live every weekday on Motor Trend On Demand. Here's an example of an episode you missed last week. This Dirt Everyday Extra, Dave is going to talk to you about axles. These axles are for an upcoming project, and they're actually some of Dave's favorite axles because they're an FJ80 axle. FJ80 is a Toyota Land Cruiser. It's the last of the solid axle Land Cruisers.
Yep.
And Dave tracked these down for an upcoming project that you guys will see on Dirt Every Day. Dave, what's going on here? Looks like a big pile of parts.
I got this blown out. So we have, this is the bomb FJ80 rear axle. We got a full floater rear end, which means the axle shaft is only supposed to spin the tires, not support the weight of the vehicle. Super cool axle. Then the front, we've got a Toyota FJ80 axle, which uses a high pinion center section.
You notice the difference here. The front axle steers.
Yep.
The rear doesn't have that.
These things are kind of like a low budget version of all the cool things that you want out of an aftermarket axle, in my opinion. You get a bunch of strength and you get a bunch of neat widgets and stuff, and the price is super low. I mean, I bought the vehicle that these came out of for $500.
That's kind of rare, though.
Yeah.
You don't find a $500 FJ80.
That one was on its way to the junkyard, though. So they didn't come with the super duper widget factory e-lockers, which is the one you would like to find. So I ended up putting air lockers in these ones from TJM. It's their Pro Locker. It's an air actuated locking differential where, you know, typically if you get your truck stuck, you get one tire in the air and it just spins like crazy and the other one does nothing. This one, you put a little air to it, hit the switch, and it engages this and turns it into a full spool, so you get the same amount of power going to both tires.
So these are the axle shafts.
Yeah.
Toyotas use a Burfield joint, it's like a constant velocity joint, and so that is actually how the axle steers.
Yeah.
So this runs out from your differential to the knuckle, and this part is able to move as the axle steers.
The Dana style axles use a U-joint rather than this style. It's questionable which is stronger. I know these in stock form are fairly weak. They're good for up to like 37s, but past that you're gonna end up starting to break parts.
One of the things about Toyota axles, their solid front axles, is they have a closed knuckle. So unlike on a Dana style, like in a Jeep or a Chevy or Ford, you can see the U-joint in here. This has like a closed ball, and then the knuckle goes over it, and it's packed full of grease. And I'm not a big fan of that. It's a big greasy mess.
Yeah.
But some people love using the closed knuckle style because they claim it like keeps everything sealed up.
They're good when they're good, and then what happens on these older ones is there's a seal in here that ends up going bad, and you end up with axle oil coming in and getting into where the grease is supposed to be, and then it just creates this nasty mess. So they're good when they're good. In factory form, you get a ton of miles out of them. It seems like when you start four-wheeling them hard, they start leaking a little bit prematurely.
On the end of the axle knuckle is a spindle, and this is where your axle hub rides. So the bearings in your hub ride on the spindle, and the spindle bolts to the end of the knuckle. Here, I'll show you on this end. So this will, once the axle shaft, the differential goes in here, then the axle shaft goes in, the spindle goes on, and then the hub goes on there. And the hub is what your wheel actually bolts to, and your brakes are all attached to that. And that's pretty much how a front axle on a Toyota Land Cruiser goes together. I mean, there's like your brakes and your seals and everything, and bearings and all that, but it's pretty simple components.
Yeah. It's weird now that with like the little RC rock crawlers and stuff, they're all like little miniature versions of this stuff exactly. Even like the lockers in the RC cars are exactly like this, and the steering knuckles and all that stuff seem the same.
Minuscule. One of the things about Toyota Land Cruisers is the rear axles are all offset to the passenger side. So you either need a transfer case that has the drive shaft running out the rear on the passenger side, or you have to compensate for that. What's cool about it is if you're going down the trail and you see a rock, and the rock is underneath the driver's side of the axle, you know that both the passenger or the front and rear differential will clear it because they're all on the passenger side. Unlike current Jeeps and most trucks and 4x4s, the front differential is offset and then the rear differential is centered. So you kind of have to compensate your driving skill around the obstacle to make up for those axles. So, Toyota Land Cruiser stuff.
Pretty cool.
Probably the beefiest axles that Toyota has ever offered. Maybe that new rear Tundra axle is pretty beefy, but I mean, this is the stuff that Toyota guys are looking for when they want to upgrade to the biggest stuff they can get. After this, you're moving on to
Dana's 60s.
Dana 1-ton type stuff.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I'm excited to get this together and try it out.
All right, we're going to put this all together and put it underneath our upcoming project. That's it for Dirt Everyday Extras. Tune in next time.
Thanks.
If you need more Dirt Everyday Extra, go sign up right now.